Hey y'all guys, I'm Tab and Dillard. It's a new episode of the Tab and Dillard podcast. How y'all guys doing today? Me, I'm pretty good. We into episode 8 now. And I mean, if you look at the math of typical podcast season for yours truly, the Tab and Dillard, we about the halfway point. A little over now if you look at it that way because we have 15 episodes. So this is episode 8 and there's a lot to talk about today, kind of a flashback. You know how like when you have a bad experience and then you have to remember about that experience and kind of think through it again? Well, I feel like, that's kind of what happened to me this week. I'll tell you about it a little bit, but first of all, I mean, it's the August. If you listen to this on the day it come out, the calendar day is turned to the merry month of August. And boy, I hope your summer has been going good. Your watermelon helmets, maybe you got the chin strap on yours, you got the water nearby. Speaking of water nearby and some camp out, I did a little camping this past week. I know, and that's what I want to talk to y'all about. Of course, we had a softball game too, so we got back for that. But boy, you get back from camping, and then you got to go play a softball game, you can be a little tired. But hey, ain't your problem. You just here joining me today. Appreciate it. We'll get to the show notes here. We'll just start off with that today. If you want to check them out, there's going to be some things you can find. Now, we got all kind of shirts these days. Yeah, I got the Rachel Christine shirt, Thunder Punch, Coach Hicks boxing gym Thunder Punch. Yeah, I got the tank top you can use to work out in, or we got the regular shirt, got them sleeves on it too. For them cold nighttime workouts, I don't know. Or maybe you just wearing it to the rodeo, that's your choice. We got the watermelon helm shirt, didn't wear it, Cannonball Champ at the City Poo. Got Peekaboo in a couple colors now. Got the Tab and Dillard, Tabin's Lawn Care Services, mowing, edge and grass cutting legend shirt. And you know what? Team Burger Shed 20 out 23 team roster shirt. And then all kind of other ones. I guess I don't need to read the list to you. It's like you go to some restaurant with your granny and she want to read down the menu with you like you don't know how to read. So anyhow, that link's in the show notes. And then Tabin's Bacon Bag, you see that there. And then you also see the link for personal video greetings, which I do for folks. And then you can text me, 501-322-6249. And if you got a business inquiry or you just want to holler at me, tabanddillard@gmail.com. That'll all be in the show notes because you on a walk right now, or you on a run, or you building a birdhouse in your yard and you listen to this. You ain't got hands free to write down. You ain't got your pen and pad and your Rolodex nearby where you can just write down, oh, hey, this is his phone number and his email address or whatever. So that's how you can do it. Just check them show notes at your convenience. Welcome, y'all. I sure am glad you're here today. Now, I ain't saying this is the best choice of my life or the easiest choice of my life. In fact, it wasn't neither of them this week. Not the best choice, not the easiest choice, but I helped out my buddy Russell Tucker. We growed up together. Russell got a little sister, Mary Beth Tucker. She worked at the concession stand. I mean, basically volunteer. You make a little dollar down there, but her big job is she worked at the veterinary because she went to school for horses. And she dating Myron Curtis. But Russell's a buddy of mine. He's her older brother, and he basically like the coach of our softball team. And I don't know if you remember back, speaking of coach, in the winter, me and him, he coached, I assistant coached a T-ball team. His younger boy Jesse is on that team. Hunter Farnhart, that's Rance's nephew, is on that team. B.W. Childress, that's Brody and Brandy Lynn's little boy. He wears cleats everywhere he goes, even when he's not playing T-ball, because, they say cleats last longer kind of thing. So he was on that team. Will Dilroy, that's Candy Dilroy's little brother. He lives in Chancellor Park, my trailer park too. He was on that team. Champ Tharp, he was on that team. His folks run Lady in the Trampoline. Well, who cares, Tabby? Why are you talking about the winter T-ball team? Well, Russell Tucker led a wilderness pack on a camp out, and that's them little tykes, them little boys that are, like to be adventurers or whatever. And basically, all them boys I just named, they was the boys that was on this wilderness pack camp out. And I told Russell, yeah, I'll go and help you with them kiddos. I didn't do a lot of camping growing up. I went to one with my uncle once on camp out, and my brother Brett was there, and I felt like we set up camp downstream from a deer toilet. stunk to high heaven. So I don't know how you figure all that stuff out, but Russell was kind of leading the way. And, you know, it takes us about an hour and a half to get where we want to go, and then another, I don't know, 45 minutes or something to find our little camp spot. Then we start setting up camp. Well, you setting up camp with a bunch of 5, 6-year-olds running around, they ain't too helpful. I just put it to you like that. I mean, they don't mind holding a mallet, you know, but they try swinging at their buddy. It's like, no, get that little tent peg in the ground kind of thing. Come on, kiddos. So we was getting that ready. Well, we get camp set up, you know, that's still daylight and everything. And I don't remember who it was. Champ Tharp, you know, he loved to jump. And I don't know if that's because, you know, his folks are in the trampoline business. But, I mean, that boy's always jumping all over the place. And that's basically what you do on a trampoline, if you think about it. I mean, if you ain't jumping on a trampoline, you just try not to fall off it. You know, you're trying to keep your legs steady while somebody's going, you know, bananas on that thing, and you say, hold on, let me get off, or let me sit down here. I ain't trying to do no flip right now. And that's the problem you run into when you get, you know, when somebody else is on the trampoline with you, when it's like a group jump or whatever, which that leads to all kind of hijinks and injuries, the way I see it. But it wasn't Champ. It was actually, I think it might have been, it wasn't BW because he wasn't there when it happened. It might have been Jesse. It might have been Russell's boy. You know, here's what happened. We get the tent set up, and then up in like a tree or whatever, somebody sees a beehive. And, you know, them little kids like, look, it's a beehive, and they buzzing around it. Well, don't throw anything at it, you know, Russell says. And then the kids, you know, kind of think, well, now you gave me an idea. Now, they didn't need Russell to give them the idea. I mean, you want to make, when you see something like that as a little kid, you want to make it, you want your worlds to intersect. You want them to know you here. I don't know why. And then all of a sudden a rock or two gets picked up, and somebody's like, you do it, and I do it. And, you know, these little kids play t-ball, so they don't know how to throw. They don't know how to throw accurately. They don't know how to throw straight, but they can just wing something up into a tree and see what happened. Well, Will Dilroy, he ended up grabbing a rock too, and he's the one who hit it. It seemed like pretty square on, and them bees didn't like that. Thankfully, the camp was set up, and we could zip up our tents and just haul tail out of there, and we just ran toward the lake, all of us, you know. And I will say, I had the thought to say, I can't be in the front of this pack. You know, I ain't gonna be here like the assistant pack leader and leave these kids in the dust. I mean, it occurred to me because I didn't start that fight, and, you know, there's what we call natural consequence. You know, you play with fire, you get burnt kind of thing. You play with a beehive, you get stung kind of thing. But I sent those boys on ahead, you know, and so me and Russell kind of rounded up the back of the pack, and them bees got tired or whatever, or maybe, you know, he didn't like destroy their beehive, you know, Will with that little rock he throwed, and maybe they just went back, or maybe they planning like an attack later. I don't know. You know, I ain't in the mind of a bee. They got little tiny heads and little tiny wings, but they got a stinger that's big enough to let you know, hey, guess who's here? You know, I'm here, says the bee. So we got down to the lake. It's like, well, we was going to get down here anyway. We just got down here a little faster, and the boys jumped in the water. A few of them just drove up there in their swimsuits because, you know, that's what they thinking, well, I'm going camping, I'm going to be swimming all week. So, and by all week, I mean, it was a 2-day camp out. But sleeping 2 days camping, that's like 7 normal days. It's like the dog years of time. So, I mean, we was there 2 nights, but if it didn't feel like a week, it felt like 2. You know, like that away. So we get down to that lake. Champ Tharp jump in the water, no surprise. He loved to jump. They do a little cannonball, he's swimming around. You don't know exactly what's in that lake, but this is a camping area, and the lake's there to swim in, so folks know it for years, that folks swim in this water. Is there snapping turtles? Maybe. Is there snakes? For sure. But, you know, it's something you swim in. It's just how it go. And then BW, he got in that lake, and, you know, he got his cleats on because, you know, they last longer, and he didn't think to keep them off or nothing like that. He didn't kick them off. He get in that water, and it's shallow, you know, where he at. He may be up to his shoulders. And so you could, you know, he ain't like where he can't swim, and he do know how to swim, but I don't recommend anybody swimming in cleats. because you ain't, cleats is for like getting a grip on things, like if you're on a softball field or the soccer field or kind of sport thing, so you can get in with that thing. Well, you ain't trying to dig the bottom of the lake, like kind of keep your traction, because you floating in water. That's how swim. I probably don't have to explain to you how swimming or water works, and I hope I don't have to explain to you, because I don't know how to explain it. But I will tell you that he was in the water with cleats. Now, I get it, Brody and Brandy Land say, well, them cleats last longer. I know they do, but I don't know that putting them in a lake and having them swim in them makes them last longer. Well, sure enough, he get them cleats caught in like a tree branch. I don't know if it's like a little triangle shape, and that cleats caught kind of thing. Now, he ain't going under or nothing, but he just stuck. So it's a little bit of a circus. And Russell's like, what's going on? He goes, I can't. Something got me. And so we go over there, and Jesse swim over there. That's Russell's little boy. And he swim under. But it's a lake. It ain't like if you got goggles on, you in the ocean, you can see a pretty fish. It's like you got goggles on, it's still muddy, and all the dirt got kicked up. And so, but Jesse got under there, and he grabbed his foot. And then he came back up, because you can't stay down there too long, because we ain't fish, like we ain't got gills, like we ain't designed to breathe underwater. You need some sort of apparatus, or you got to just be able to hold your breath. And then that's what Jesse did for a little bit. But then all of a sudden he come up, he goes, it's caught in a branch. And so he was helpful. He told, it's caught in a branch. We got to get that thing loose. Well, Champ Tharp's like, I think I can get it with this little piece of wood. It looked like a piece of, like something that you'd buy at the lumber yard. It wasn't something straight from a tree, like it was a 1x4, it broke in half kind of thing. And he had a piece of it, and he gonna swim under there and try to wedge it. Well, he ain't even seen how this foot's caught in there. So he go under, and then Champ Tharp, you think Jesse couldn't hold his breath for too long. Well, Champ was he didn't have a category for how to hold your breath underwater, so he came right back up. He had water coming out of his nose, and he's coughing and choking. And Russell's like, hold on here. So Russell go over there. Russell taller than me. He well over 6 feet tall. And he just reach under there like this way, like you reaching under, and it's just a couple feet down. Like his arm can reach where little BW's footed cleat is, or I guess it's a cleated foot. Both of his feet, but only one of them was caught in a tree branch. So he going down there like this away, and the kids are all crowded around. When something like this is going on, boy, it's a big deal. These kids are going to tell their parents like a big adventure, like an amazing thing. Like, boy, BW almost died in the lake kind of thing. Well, so they all crowded around like, help him out kind of thing. You don't worry, BW. They got Will Dilroy trying to coach him on, just staying calm. And BW, I don't know that he was real too scared, but he sure was tired of being stuck. So Russell reached down there, and he just he break that branch. So now what was like this, like a triangle around his foot, it's broke, like you broke off one of the sides of the triangle kind of thing. And his foot was free. So a little bit of a circus there, but BW was done. They did some swimming. Didn't take long. Little Will Dilroy. That's Candy's brother. That's Candy's little brother. He caught a snake, which didn't surprise nobody. Candy, she catches all kind of wild animals. She caught an adult crow. She caught a feral cat at the 4th of July parade, named him Jasper, put on a little red, white, and blue top hat on him, and he ended up going somewhere. And then now Candy, she's raising like a litter of kittens. One of them kitty cats ended up in the back of Meemaw's 91 Buick Regal on her trip to Gatlinburg, here recently. And so anyhow, Will Dilroy got a snake. And Russell's like, you need to get that snake away from us, take it as far from camp as you can, and then come on back and don't go in the water. So Will went ways a ways and came back with no snake. So we think we okay. And then we had to, do all the other things you got to do. Like you get cleaned up, you get all the kids out, and make sure BW's got both his cleats when he gets out at the lake. And then we all headed back to the camp. We had supper there, basic supper kind of thing, and then s'mores. Because you don't have a camp out. You don't go out with a bunch of kiddos and tykes and little guys and wilderness pack in the camp. Truth be told, you don't go out with a bunch of adults and don't do s'mores. You got to do them s'mores. And I anticipating them. I steady been looking forward to s'mores, because Meemaw, about a month or so ago, she had a baby doll camp out in her front room of her trailer, and she did s'mores for her baby dolls, which is a nightmare, is a mess. Baby dolls ain't got a digestive system, but Meemaw played a whole part. And I know who's eating all them s'mores. just like at Meemaw's Snicker Bars parties. But anyways, that ain't what I'm talking about. I'm just saying I didn't get none of them s'mores at Meemaw's Baby Doll Camp. I wasn't really invited, and I ain't mad about that. I'm just saying I was ready for some s'mores. And so we made that, and they is a mess. They is a mess. But it's kind of worth it, you know. You got some water to wash your hands off with, but boy, that graham cracker, and then they got the big old marshmallows now. You know about that? Like the size of a softball almost. And then the chocolate, and then you put that in there, and you roast a marshmallow over the fire. Well, Champ Tharp got into that marshmallow bag, and I'm telling you, you think it's how big it is. I mean, it's the size of them little kiddos' fists. And he put the whole thing in. He hadn't roasted it. He didn't have no s'mores. He wasn't taking one bite. And it's like, buddy, are we going to do the Heinlein on this little fella? Because he got that thing in his mouth. The good news is it wasn't even making it past his mouth. It couldn't get to his throat. I had to reach in there, and I pulled that whole thing out. I was like, Champ, you got to take bites. Okay, you got to take bites. And he goes, well, now I know. And he bit it in half, and he put it on a stick, and he roasted half of it, and it caught it on fire. And then he started running around the thing, chasing folks with a fiery marshmallow. We're like, Champ, that ain't how you do it. You know, it's like whack-a-mole out there. One kid gets up, one kid sits down, one kid wants to show you what they're doing. One kid drops his marshmallow on the ground. He tries to pick it up, pick the dirt and the sticks off of it, and you're like, hold on, everybody. So I'm telling you, 2 nights of that, y'all guys, and we pooped. But we had a camp out. The kids had a good time. Nobody got hurt. VW's cleats was dried out by the time we got back. And then Russell and I had to get to a softball game. And we running on very little sleep. Very little sleep. And, you know, Team Burger Shed, we've been doing pretty good with the 7-4-1, you know, record. Are we 7-4-2 now? Yeah, we 7-4-2. So we had that to get into, and we were playing the city workers. PJ McGee, he cut the lawns for the city fields. You know, he a lawnmower man too, but he worked for the city, and I worked for the man. You know, I worked for the citizens. But anyhow, PJ, he's the one, you remember sometime back, I seen him in the middle of the day down at the city fields, you know, just taking a break. And he had bologna sandwich. You know, he brought his lunch. You know, so he's sitting out there on a picnic table, and he just eating. And I was like, hey, BW. They're not BW. Boy, I got Brandy Childress' kid on the mind. I said, hey, PJ McGee, you know, he's the one. He doubled up on the bologna and the cheese and the white bread. He had mayonnaise on it. Is what he had, and it's something soured his guts. Like we was out there just talking, you know, shooting the breeze. I was on a little lunch break and then passing through the park, and he said, I got to get to the park bathroom. I was like, okay, PJ, you know, and you figure, okay, I'll see him probably in, you know, 4 minutes tops. But I mean, I was out there working on a Dr. Pepper. I had a sack lunch from the Burger Shed, so that's what I was eating. And I mean, 20 minutes later, I'm thinking, PJ never came out. You know, the rest of his lunch is still sitting here. Something going on. You know, I got to get in there. Well, I went down there, and there's PJ McGee with his face pressed against that concrete floor in that park bathroom underneath the urinal, them stainless steel urinals. And I said, PJ, and nothing. And I'm thinking, did PJ die in the park bathroom? And I said, PJ, nothing. And then I just did first and last. PJ McGee! Like that away, and it kind of echo in that park bathroom. And his eyes open. I'm like, what in the world happened to you? He goes, I'm just so tired, Tavin. I don't feel good at all. And I was like, you can't be feeling good if you having your cheek pressed against the concrete floor of a park bathroom underneath the stainless steel urinal. He goes, it's so cool down here, though. It's so much cooler down here, Tavin. And I was like, oh, buddy. Boy, this ain't good. You're going to have to get home and get some sleeps, because if it's tearing you up this bad and this is the best alternative you could find, we got problems. And I don't know if the bologna was spoiled or the cheese or the mayonnaise. I never got to the bottom of it, but I know that PJ eventually got up and he got out of there. Well, we was playing the city workers tonight, and PJ was in full form. Like he wasn't sick or nothing like that. And we came to play. They came to play. Millie Ricks was in the stands, and Cricket was there, and Marybeth Tucker was like, hey, I got an idea. And Marybeth Tucker always got ideas when it comes to concession stands. She goes, Cricket, could you get in there and just sell the Skittles in the stands tonight? like souvenirs here, get your Skittles kind of thing. So Cricket did that, and Cricket's a good salesperson. People were buying the Skittles left and right. Millie Ricks, she brought a squirrel to the softball game. Now, she barely ever come to adult softball league games, but she showed up, and she showed up with a squirrel, and it didn't really surprise me. Millie Ricks, she's like the Dilroy kids. She can catch wildlife like nobody's business, and she brought herself a squirrel. Well, she ended up buying a bag of Skittles, and she'd feed that squirrel Skittle, and it'd put it in his cheek, and then it'd munch on it a little bit. And before long, the Skittles was sold out, and we had a game to play. So I'm kind of seeing some of this, and then I hear about it from Cricket after, like, Millie Ricks fed a bag of Skittles to a squirrel. And I was like, the whole bag? She goes, well, no, Millie was eating some too. I didn't get a full count, but I know that squirrel was eating Skittles. And I was like, well, maybe that's why it was so well behaved. Like, it'll calm down, you give it some Skittles or whatever. And I don't know if it's going to stay calm, because that sugar got to do something to you. I know it does something to them T-ball kids. But anyways, it's good to be back on the softball field. Being with them kids on the Wilderness Pack camp out, having flashbacks of trying to coach them at the T-ball, and then now being on my own T-ball field with my Team Burger Shed, and playing with the big boys. I was ready to be back. And the City Workers, they came to play tonight too. And we scored a bunch of runs. I mean, it was all-star night for Rusty Tidwell and Rance Farnhart. They was hitting them left and right, doubles, dingers, scoring all the time. I was 5 for 5. I got 5 singles. I stole 3 bases. I mean, we were bringing the lumber, as they say. It was a big night. Now, you wouldn't say much for the pitching, but I mean, we would score, and then the City Workers would score, then Team Burger Shed would score, and we back and forth like a ping pong match. Only thing it wasn't ping pong, it was adult softball. By the end of the game, 21-18, Team Burger Shed won. Yeah, it wasn't the pitching that got us through tonight, but I mean, we were hitting them left and right. And PJ, boy, whatever he had in his sandwich today, buddy, it wasn't spoilt, because he was hitting them too. I had a good game, but hey, somebody got to lose these games unless you tie, which has happened twice. So now we 8-4-2, and Team Burger Shed, I mean, we feeling pretty good. Like, we had a rocky patch, and ain't that life? I mean, you get them rocky patches, but then things, the clouds clear kind of thing, like that away. And so, boy, now what I'm thinking about is catching up on my sleep. I mean, it was 2 days, but it was camping days. So that could have been upwards of 11 days of camping sleep that I didn't get. So I got to do that next, and I'm excited about hitting that pillar and getting a little rest. But Team Burger Shed, we did it, and me and Russell, we feel like we accomplished a lot. We took a Wilderness Pack out, survived a beehive that attacked us, didn't get any kids hurt. We got to eat s'mores, most of us. Nobody choked on a oversized marshmallow, and boy, the summer's still cranking. The summer is still cranking. A lot to look forward to, and a lot to be thankful for. And I'm glad y'all joined me today on the Tab and Dillard podcast. I'll tell you that right now. It's a hoot of a time. I hope you're having a hoot of a summer. Please let me know how you're doing. Shoot me a text today, 501-322-6249. I'll try to get back to you pretty quick. You can email me if you need to. I'll see you on the social medias. Check me out on the interwebs, the Instagrams, the TikToks, the whatnots. I'm on there, and the YouTubes, the Facebooks. I appreciate y'all staying in touch there, and I try to get on there with the comments and reply. But right now, we wrapping up this episode of the Tab and Dillard podcast, Season 7, Episode 8. And isn't that funny? We in the 8th month of the year now. Welcome to August. Bink, bink. And hey, if you ain't got your lake cleats caught in a fall tree in a lake this week, you having a pretty good week. Me, I'm Tab and Dillard. This is the Tab and Dillard podcast. Till next time, y'all guys, we'll see you later.